Jane's Special Day, written by Judie Laird, illustrated by Padovano, read by Hannah Skidmore. Jane Reynolds is a second grade student at Valley Ridge School, and today is a special day for her. Today, Jane has a piano lesson after school, and she can't wait for Mrs. Foster to hear her play the waltz, The Christmas Toys, without the book. She practiced every day and is hoping to get 2 stars. Jane ran all the way to Mrs. Foster's house, threw off her boots and coat and mitts and hat, and jumped up on the piano bench before Mrs. Foster had a chance to say hello. Jane played quietly at first, and then the notes became louder. As she neared the end of her performance, the music became soft again. Mrs. Foster said she was very talented, and that everyone would be thrilled to hear her play at the Christmas recital. Jane had a smile from ear to ear. She was very proud of herself. Then Mrs. Foster turned the page, and Jane struggled through Hickory, Dickory, Dock. It was a tricky song, and she made a lot of mistakes, but Mrs. Foster said, "They'll all make mistakes. Practice makes perfect, and every time you play it, there will be fewer mistakes. In another week or so, it will be polished." Jane wasn't so sure about this, but she would try her best. Pretty soon, the piano lesson was over. Mrs. Foster said, "Excellent lesson, Jane. You have worked hard. You may put 2 stars on the chart." Jane couldn't believe her great good luck. She was one happy girl. The following week, Jane played Hickory, Dickory, Dock with no mistakes. Then Mrs. Foster played a classical piece to see if Jane was interested in learning it. Jane thought it was the most beautiful song ever. It was called Fur Elise, and she wanted to begin right away. Mrs. Foster showed her how to join the notes so the melody flowed smoothly, and Jane was to practice the first 2 lines at home that week. In no time at all, the music lesson was over, and Mrs. Foster said, "Jane, you are a hard worker. You may put 2 stars on the chart." "Yippee!" cried Jane. She counted aloud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. Today was treat day. She chose a sour lollipop, put her books in her music bag, threw on her boots and coat and mitts and hat, and ran out the door, calling back to Mrs. Foster, "See you next week." Jane's Special Day by Judie Laird, as well as her other piano lesson stories, I Don't Want to Play the Piano, and Laura Takes Piano Lessons, can be ordered at Amazon.com.